Joining me right now is featherweight prospect Luis Saldana. Thank you, Luis, for the time, man. How's life treating you right now?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. Great. Here in Vegas. Came out here a week early for the Contender series on Wednesday, and yeah, it's great to be here.
How was the quarantine? Did you do a 48 hours?
No, it was about like 12 hours. So like
Okay.
I got in here on Tuesday at 3 p.m. and then from there they told me to stay in my room till 9 a.m. the next day. And yeah, it was fast. It wasn't bad. I just, I drove here, so I was pretty tired already. So I just chilled in the hotel, woke up, and I was free.
That's great to hear, man. That 48 hours must be killing some people.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that I didn't go through that.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I wanted to go back and start our conversation in February. You know, you competed 3 straight finishes, some momentum you were building at that time, and then the COVID hit and just got real serious. What was your state of mind, let's say in early March?
Early March, this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I was getting ready for a fight. So I got offered the fight like around December for March it was.
Mm.
So I was already in fight camp, and then a week, no, like 2 days, 2 or 3 days before the fight night, it got canceled for COVID. And then, you know, after that, just kind of everything got crazy in the world, and I just kept training. They shut down the gyms, but I kept training, kept working, just however we could. Pretty sure just like anybody else, all the other fighters. But
What did
out in Arizona, we kept busy. It's nice out. A lot of hikes to go on, so I pretty much just went hiking like all summer. Good hikes and then just good training outdoors.
what kind of training did you do? Was it mostly just like I guess cardio or like strength and conditioning, or were you working on like technical stuff?
Everything. So we at our house that we live at, we had mats, we had a bag, and then we got weights from the gym. So it was pretty much like a normal training session. Pretty cool to have at the house. And yeah, I just stayed busy every day. Just a few teammates, not the whole team, but just a few guys, and that was it. That's all I needed.
So it was like I guess your own Ultimate Fighter house in a way.
Sure, yeah, for sure. So it was nice just waking up, training, and then like kind of everything was slowed down in the world. So we just kind of just it was just free living, free training, and yeah, just getting after it even harder, kind of just to come back harder when everything opened back up.
I speak to a couple guys that were in that similar situation where they were able to be at a house with their training partners or just some of their teammates, and they said a lot of times it's just basically it allowed them to kind of slow down, like you said, and get back to basics. Were you the similar mindset of getting back to the basics, or were you focused on some other things?
Mostly I was just trying to for improvement, and yeah, so when things opened back up, I was ready to go.
I saw on your record that you were scheduled to fight at the end of May for LFA. What happened to that opportunity?
Oh yeah, so I fought February 2019,
Hmm.
and then a quick turnaround to May, and I got injured. I hurt my jaw, and I had to pull out of the fight. And then after that, I was ready to. After I took a few months off, so maybe like around August, I was ready to go. And then I think LFA lost their Access TV deal, so they canceled all their shows, and then there were just kind of no fights available. And then I got that fight for the next in March 2020, and that's when COVID hit.
That must have been devastating because you were out for so long, and then you probably, with the injury and everything, you probably wanted to get back so fast. Just
Yeah, for sure. And I got a full-time job too, so I was just working through the pandemic, and just basically the past 3 years, just full-time working and then training during the week.
what do you do for a job?
Just warehouse work at the Target DC. So warehouse worker for Target. I work on the
Oh,
weekends, so it's nice. I get to work on weekends. I do 312s, and then I train during the week.
oh, that's not
I
that
get like,
bad. Warehouse,
yeah,
I did a couple warehouse gigs too, man. It's not too
yeah.
strenuous, right?
No, it'd be like my days off, my easy days. So I'd train harder during the week, and then I'd go in there and just have a little recovery day, doing a little warehouse work. So it's nice.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, when were you allowed to get back into the gym, back into fight ready?
We slowly started letting people back to the gym and just kind of like private sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, pretty soon, like around July, we started like slowly going back in, having small groups at a time. We had to get tested before we went to the gym, before we started training again, but it was cool. And then just kind of that little,
Mm-hmm.
once we got back into the gym, like around July, they started allowing just smaller groups at a time to come in. So for me, it was a little better, and I'd have more time with the coaches, one-on-one time. So the past few several months, it was just like one-on-one time, and I think that's how I got a little better through that time.
What was the small group that you've been working with out there?
Bryce Logan, he was an LFA champ
Mm-hmm.
and LFA. He's fighting for Bellator next week. Like I'd have him, Bryce, Henry Corrales just fought last night. My roommate Dan Moret, Luke Sanders. Like we'd have just they'd switched it up, the small groups. So every other day it'd be like different guys, just different smaller group. But it was nice like that, training like that.
It seemed like, you were focused on training, getting better, but then at the same time, COVID is going on. Did you expect to actually fight this year?
Yeah, so that Iowa promotion that I was supposed to fight
Mm-hmm.
for in March, Caged Aggression, the promoter said, the show was going to go on, so I kept my hopes high, and that's why I kept training, because I was like, just one more fight. I want a 3-fight win streak, 4-fight win streak, and after this fight, I'll be good. And so it kind of like paid off, just waiting and staying ready. And then I got the call for Contender, and I said, perfect. Like I've been training all year for one fight, and that got that got canceled. So now I got this opportunity, and I was like, let's do it.
How far
So
out did kick everything into gear for this upcoming fight on November 4th?
Contenders probably like beginning of October
Mm-hmm.
is when they were like, hey, my coach told me, he's the one that got me hooked up with the opportunity to fight on Contenders. And he said, hey, yeah, he's like, I don't think you should take that fight in Iowa, because I'm going to try to get you in the Contender series. And so I had to pull out of that Iowa fight. And then shortly after, I got for sure on the Contender for November. So
How hyped were you, man, when you found out that like you got a date for the Contenders though? That's a big deal.
like at first he told me, he was just like, hey, just wait. It was a waiting game, like
Mm-hmm.
for a while. Like I didn't know I was going to fight on the 4th until just like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe. So it was kind of weird, because they were like telling me that I got the fight, and I was just kind of waiting, because I didn't know like for sure. I didn't see no contract, I didn't have no date. I just had to keep training and keep training. I didn't know who I was going to fight. So yeah, just a few weeks ago I found out, the 4th, Vince Murdock, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Doesn't matter who, let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on Vince and the matchup?
uh, it's a perfect matchup for the Contender series. I think we're similar, same age, but both been in the game for a while, trying to make it to the UFC. I saw that he almost had his shot, and he had some like medical issues,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's getting a shot again. So I mean, it's good for him, and we're gonna cross paths in a few days. So it's gonna be awesome to get to fight him.
Your main coaches or some of your coaches, Santino DeFranco and Eddie Cha. What has the development been like under that combination?
It's been great, dude. Eddie Chaw, he's really opened up my striking and just how I see striking. Thinking of moves ahead of time, what I'm gonna do, like movement, strikes, mixing that all together. And then Santino with the grappling and just game planning, having both this year has been like super great for me. And I think it's gonna make a difference in my next fight, my next performance.
There's a lot of guys that go into the Contender series with these like undefeated records, right? And they've never really experienced loss, in their pro career. And I look at back at your career, and you have two back-to-back losses, and you dug yourself
Yeah.
out, man. How important is that to go through something like that? I think for your future.
Man, it's super important. I mean, the ups and downs, it's like it'll make you or break you. And you just got to fight through it, and you got to keep on believing yourself. And that's what I did. You know, I've never given up. I've always given my all, and you know, I just knew that if I stick to this, you know, I'm gonna get somewhere, and I feel like it's turning out for the best this year.
It seems like all eyes are on Vince Murdock, you know, because of his story, him coming back from brain surgery. Does that kind of somewhat, you know, take a little bit of pressure off your shoulders a little, you know, like cuz like it seems like they're focused on him.
Yeah, that's great. That's great for me. I don't got to worry about nothing but just going in there and compete. So, yeah, it's awesome. That's cool.
Cuz yeah, man, it seems like you know, he's doing a lot of press, and it seems like the UFC is kind of pushing that story. So, you know, you kind of sit in the cut and chill out, and
Yep.
then when it's time to go, it's go time.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. So, yeah.
Now, how do you see this fight playing out? You know, how do you see yourself winning this contract?
I think I'll be able to pick him apart. I seen he's 5'6". He's a shorter guy. I'm long. I'm 5'11". So I think my range, and my cardio. I got good cardio. I've been fighting 5 rounds like my last. Well, not my last fight, but before that, like my last 6 fight were all 5 rounders. So I'm always have good cardio, and I can always, you know, end the fight. I got like a unique way of just ending fights, just crazy. I don't know how I do it, but when I get in there, I can end fights just whenever. So yeah, all my wins are by finishes too.
Yeah, and on top of that, like you mentioned, you had 2 fights that you were preparing 5 rounds and you finished them. But on top
Yep.
of that, you're fighting for titles too, which is a huge difference, I feel.
Yeah. So I hold 2 belts in Iowa. So I've never really had a manager until just a few weeks ago when I got signed. I signed with Sucker Punch, and they got me this fight. So
Nice,
I've always
nice.
just taken fights, local fights from where I'm from. There's so many promotions in the Midwest. Growing up, it'd be easy for me to find fights, and I would never like need a manager. I could just hit up a promoter and be like, hey, can I fight? Can I get on this fight card? And that's how it's been. And then yeah, I secured 2 titles and 2 different promotions, and then I just fight whenever. It was cool because I'd be training out here in the West Coast, and I could go back to the Midwest and just fight whenever.
Definitely represent. Now, one last thing before I let you go. You know, there's many different types of competitors in the sport of MMA. Do you feel like you're more of a martial artist or a prize fighter at this moment?
Uh, I'm a martial artist. I mean, I've been in the game for a while. I went pro in 2011, almost 10 years. I've just grown through. I've seen a lot, grown a lot, been around a lot. Some of the best in the game, and yeah, I definitely see myself as a martial artist now.
All right, well, November 4th, man, Dana White's Contender Series, the opportunity of a lifetime. That contract is waiting for you. Thank you so much, Luis, for the time, and good luck to you and all the best, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.